Welcome to Throw-In Bananas, how throw-ins win matches. My name is Thomas Gronnemark and I'm a professional football throwing coach, and I've been part of 15 titles in international football. Today I'm going to tell you about the opponent's defending pattern. Today's video about the opponent's defending pattern is maybe my most important video ever, because understanding the opponent's defending pattern is vital for having throw-in success on the pitch. In this video I'm giving you three things. First of all, I'm telling you what are the typical mistakes made by the players on the pitch when they're not using the opponent's defending pattern. Then in the second part I'm going to the tactical board and show you what are the opponent's defending pattern, how can you understand it, and I'm also giving you some examples on how you can use it precisely in a match. And then in the end I tell you how you can train with your players so you can integrate the knowledge and understanding of the opponent's defending pattern so you can win more games with a throw-in. I've been a professional throwing coach for 21 years, and most teams I see they have a traditional throwing approach. So first of all, if they do a fast throw-in, and it's not all teams who does that, but if they do a fast throw-in, they're often unaware. So they're just taking the ball fast and then throw it, often into high pressure zones, or they are maybe doing an automatic throw-in to the nearest central defender, but maybe there was a much better option inside the pitch or down the line. So again, a lot of teams are fast but unaware. I also see a lot of teams, if they can't throw fast, they're using routines, 1 or 2 routines per zone. And yes, of course, this is better than nothing. But again, if you only have 1 or 2 routines per zone, this will often be locked down by the opponent's defending pattern, or if the opponents are just marking really well. And this gives a lot of loss of possession if you only have a few routines. And then we go to the decision. A lot of players, they're just throwing by instinct. And yes, of course, instincts are important in football too. But instinct, you should have them because you have some knowledge, awareness around space, the opponent's defending pattern, and so all in all, traditional throwing approach, yes, that's a challenge for you. And you might think, wow, is this only like youth teams, amateur teams who have these challenges here? No, actually, professional teams, they are struggling a lot. For example, in recent throwing analysis here, I saw that Liverpool FC had a possession on 33.3% in a match against Crystal Palace. Manchester United and Arsenal played against each other. Man United had 25%, Arsenal 28.6% possession on throw-ins under pressure. So even the best teams in the world, they are struggling with their throw-ins. But if you ask me, the most important thing to learn here for the players, no matter the level, is to learn the players about the opponent's defending pattern. So the opponent's defending pattern, ODP like I call it, when you get a throw in here, you want to get the ball fast, but you want to be scanning for the opponent's defending pattern already on the way, how the opponents are standing. Then when you get the ball and turn around, you still have to scan before you do the throw. And yes, you have to be fast around this. And then you have to throw or not throw. If you can't throw because you're not satisfied with the risk in this fast throwing, then you have to create space. But first you have to read the opponent's defending pattern, because the opponent's defending pattern is showing you where are the best options. Some people say, yes, you're -1 inside the pitch. Yes, but there are often 3, 4 places where you have a really good options because the numbers are great for you. So here you have to create different kinds of spaces, and then you can really use the opponent's defending pattern to your advantage. And then regarding the decision, you have to decide what to do, either because you want to have a safe possession, just keep possession and then be able to play. But you can also take a risk, for example, a low risk, high reward throwing behind your opponent's defense, because even though you lose possession, it have been giving you a great chance here. So again, this was the understanding of the opponent's defending pattern. Now I'm going to the tactics boards and I'm going to show you some examples of what is the opponent's defending pattern. Also some examples around how can you use that specifically in a match. Here is a tactical overview over what is the opponent's defending pattern. Again, the opponent's defending pattern can change from game to game, from throw-in to throw-in, depending on the formation of the opponents, depending on the strategy, depending on the standing. And yes, you're -1 out here, but always there'll be 1, 2, 3, 4 weaknesses in the opponent's defending pattern that you can use to keep possession, create a chance, or score a goal after a throw-in. There are no best ways of defending, because some people say, yeah, you have to mark the thrower, you have to sandwich, you have to zonal mark, you have to man mark, you have to mark the central defenders. But no matter what choice you make as a defending team, there'll be weaknesses. So again, here is the opponent's defending pattern. Normally when you do a throw-in, let's say here in the middle of the pitch, you'll have 180 degrees and you'll have many different options, and I won't go into them now, but I'll like to explain what is happening in this area of the pitch. So taking away a lot of the players here, and we have a 1-against-1 here. So if the 1-against-1 is good, it's depending on where it is on the pitch. It's always good, but if it's a little bit down the pitch here, yeah, it's a fine situation. Maybe we'll take that depending on how the pressure is from the opponents, how much space. But is it up here? Then it's really good, because either you can throw it to your teammate and then we can have a side run, side pass, or this teammate can just win the duel, him or herself, and then we have a really good situation. There are some 1-against-1 that are better than others. I have also a thing called individual throw-in superpowers. So is it a player who's really good at protecting the ball? And for example, in Liverpool FC, we use Mohamed Salah a lot. Yes, on the other side, but he was maybe not tall, but he's really strong and good at protecting the ball. And yes, that's some things you have to train also in a match. But a 1-against-1 up the line, that's a really good situation, and often you want to take that. But you can also be, for example, a sandwich 1-against-2, and you can say it's not the best thing to try to throw it there, because first of all, that player will often win it, the last player will win it, and sometimes if it's a little bit diagonal, if this player wins it, he or she will often flick it on to the central defender of the opponents. So yes, I won't recommend that you throw it down into this sandwich, at least not in the middle of the sandwich. Yes, you can still make this player maybe go in a striker shuffle or some kind of rotation where he or she will create space here. You can also let that player move forward and then maybe have a run behind. But generally you can say that a 1-against-2 sandwich, that's not the best option to take. But again, it's really important to say, if they use an extra man on the sandwich, then they miss a man somewhere else. So sometimes this player could just be standing. Yeah, okay, that's good for the numbers. It's just mathematics. We just have to learn the players to count. The next example is a 2-against-2. And what I often see here is that in a 2-against-2, that these players just standing together, they're not creating space, and then we just have a duel if it goes in here. So of course you can create space in many different ways in a 2-against-2 up the line, but you can also do simple things. So it could, for example, be a really basic one. So the first runner runs, and then we have a big space, and then we can throw it to the feet, and either this player can come and receive the side pass, but it could also be a third man run from the midfield, for example, and you'll get it here, and then you can break the lines from the opponent. So this could be well used. Another example could also be, and again, it's really important for me to say that those spaces can be created either really fast because we are just positioned there, or they can be created after 3 seconds or after 10 seconds, depending on how you create the space. It could also be some kind of run here, and then we're dragging everybody, then the third man run behind, or it could actually be this player here who runs. And sometimes it can work because this defender is focusing a lot on his man here, so that could be a possibility. Then the last one, and the second last one. This is 2 versus 3, and this is a little bit the same as the 1 against 2, but again, it's not really the same because, yeah, don't throw it down there because highest likely the opponents will win the duel or win the ball. But you can also just choose to stay there, because with 5 players out here, then we have more space here. So you don't have to move. You can just stay there. And then the last example. This may sound a little bit comical that I say this, but often I see a 5 against 5 down the line, and how could this happen? Yes, it often happens because, yeah, they're not starting 5 against 5 often, but they are typically a little bit spread out different places, maybe with a sandwich here, 1 against 2 or 2 against 3. But then because they don't know how to create space, they go slowly down the line. Then this player shows with the body, hey, I want to throw here, and then it goes up here, and then it's a duel. And yes, sometimes you can be lucky to win that duel, but often you lose it, and then the opponents will get possession. I normally call it a 50-50 if you just throw it up here, but actually it should be called a 30-70 instead. And you can say, yo, it's just a throw-in. No, because often the opponents can score on a counter-attack. For example, here, the other day where Liverpool scored after a Newcastle mistake on the throw-in. So yes, but again, it's really important for me to say that this was just a space here regarding the opponent's defending pattern. We have spaces here diagonal. For example, the 9er will often be here. We have the near area if we can create space here. We have the middle. We have the total opposite area too, because depending on how the opponents are standing, we can use that. We can use the near space here. We can also, and that's really good, use the mini switch over on the other side, or even the far fullback. So again, everything here depends on how the opponents are standing in their defending pattern. So again, it's only mathematics. Your players just have to learn to count, and of course have the knowledge behind what is a good solution, what is a bad solution, and then you have to train it. And now I'm going to tell you how you train this with your players. This is how I'm coaching my clubs and players in the opponent's defending pattern, and I think you should do the same with your players too. I'm coaching in 3 different throw-in levels, and the first one is throw-in basics. Here I'm coaching the throw-in length and precision, basic space creation, how the opponents can create space together, fast reaction and fast marking, but also different throw-in tools. And it's maybe not directly something with the opponent's defending pattern, but it doesn't matter that you can see the opponent's defending pattern. If you can't create that space or use those tools or throw precise, so again, you have to learn your players' throwing basics to make the full use of the opponent's defending pattern. Then the second level of my coaching is small-sided games. So I'm having like 4 different types of small-sided games. So basic small-sided games, fast small-sided games, tool-specific small-sided games, and zone-specific small-sided games. The first 3 years I do something around the opponent's defending pattern there too, but especially in the zone-specific small-sided games, I'm playing with different defending, but also different positions. So it could be the mid zone, it could be the upper mid zone, it could be the opponent's penalty area, it could be your own penalty area, and so I have many different zone-specific small-sided games. And the advantage by doing this is you get a lot of different situation on small spaces, sometimes where the players are under a little bit more pressure, and then in the end I have the 3 tactical throw-in zones, and here I'm working a lot with the opponent's defending pattern, because you can use those big drills in many different ways regarding the opponent's defending pattern. I normally work with different kinds of defending, because if you only work with the same type of defending, your players are not learning to cope with those different defendings, and they will change from game to game, from throw-in to throw-in, depending on how the game is going. And so again, it's really important to learn your players to understand the opponent's defending pattern, to make full use of it. So I recommend to work in those 3 steps. This was my video around the opponent's defending pattern. I really love throw-ins, and in the future I'm going to put a lot of content out regarding throw-in coaching, so you can win more matches with your team. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, and if you have any questions or any comments, you're absolutely welcome to leave a comment down below. But greetings from Denmark. Have a fantastic day. Bye bye.